Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are so glad you are joining us right here on Real Talk Radio. This is Jason Gaszak, and my show is called Unfiltered. I hope that you have listened to me before. If not, let me just briefly share with you what this show is about. I'm a pastor out in St. Clair, Missouri, and I know I say this a lot, but listen, we always have a lot of new listeners, and I just like to let people know who I am and what the point of the show is about and why it's called Unfiltered. I am a pastor out in St. Clair, Missouri. The church is called Roots Church right there off of Highway 44. You can't miss it if you go by there. And I've always wanted a platform to talk about the social, political, and biblical topics in an unfiltered way. Usually on a Sunday morning, I do have to be a lot more reserved in the things that I want to talk about. So somebody offered me to be on one of these shows and have my own show, and that's where this all came from. So now I'm able to talk about these topics in an unfiltered way. Sometimes I give my opinion, sometimes I give the biblical truth, sometimes I read statistics, and I do all the above even. It just really depends on what we're talking about. I have guests on this show to just have spark conversation, to get people thinking, and really the whole point of this is to get you fact-checking me. I want to get your mind stirred up to start thinking about what am I saying? Is it crazy? Do you not agree? And then you go research what it is, or maybe you just do agree and you're like, go, whatever that looks like. But that's what the radio show was originally intended for. Now, in that, we have show sponsors. It's really important that we have some show sponsors supporting the radio show. That's how I'm able to do this. I've been getting a few more show sponsors as time goes on. So in this part of the segment, I usually try to talk about those show sponsors a little bit and give them a shout out. The first one is SiloRestaurant.com. That is Silo Restaurant in Sullivan, Missouri. If you know where Sullivan, Missouri is, and you are on 44, all you have to do if you're heading south, or I guess they call it west. If you're heading west, I like to call it southwest on 44 towards Springfield, Missouri. You get into Sullivan, you look to the left, you're going to see a big silo with a brand new restaurant there. That's what it is, Silo Restaurant. They have steaks, they have home-cooked meals, they have the largest salad bar in the area. They're adding a hot buffet to that bar. They also have a cafe attached to the restaurant that does specialty drinks, paninis, there's ice cream, they have a drive-through. They even have a little event center in the back where it's called the Gathering Room. We've used that multiple times with our church for a Christmas party, pastors' roundtables, or whatnot. I'm hoping to get to use it for men's breakfast coming up. I got to talk to them about that, but I'm sure it's not going to be a problem for us to rent out their space for a men's breakfast. But it's perfect for little parties that you may want to have, birthday, maybe it's a wedding party or a baby shower or whatever it might be. It's a perfect little spot for the Gathering Room. You can call them. You can go online to SiloRestaurant.com. Check them out. Let them know that you heard this advertisement right here on the Unfiltered Radio Show. It is so important that we do business with people in our local communities. So do business with SiloRestaurant.com. The other business that I want to talk about, this is a brand new show sponsor, and they do not yet have a Facebook page created, but they soon will have a Facebook page created. But this business is somebody that I know very well that has a lot of work through a particular company that they do kind of strictly through the company, but they are beginning to go back to doing their own work for just regular customers that they get on their own, because usually this company, it's called The Deck Doctor. This is called The Deck Doctor. They do fencing and decking of all sorts of materials. You want a composite deck, you want a cedar deck, you want a treated deck, we can do decks, any deck that you want. If you want a fence, we do aluminum fencing. There's chain link fencing. There is vinyl fencing of all sorts of fence, 3-rail fencing, whether it's vinyl or wood, farm rail, whatever you want to call it. We do tons of fencing as well. So maybe you're ready to do a home project and you want to do a deck or a fence, call The Deck Doctor. They will help you get this project going. They do great work. The number to The Deck Doctor is 314-540-8518. Again, that number is 314-540-8518. Let's support The Deck Doctor. And they don't just work in the local area. They work all over St. Louis, St. Charles. They even go into Illinois a little bit, all of Franklin County, I mean, they go anywhere and everywhere. They've been in business for 27 years. And for the last 10 years, they have specifically been with a company, solely with that company doing work for them. But they are now branching back out, getting their own work. And they decided, hey, let's try to do some advertising on the Unfiltered radio show and see what happens and see how many customers will come. So give them a call. Let them know, again, that you heard this ad on the Unfiltered radio show. All right. So today... if you know anybody else that would like to do any advertising, you can get a hold of me, do it through the chat on the app, or you can email me at jasongazak@gmail.com. That's JASONGASZAK@gmail.com. Looking for more show sponsors in 2024. All right, today, we have a different show for you. I decided I want to mix it up a little bit. And I don't have my guest with me at the moment, but I have a guest that's getting ready to come on the show starting in the next segment. And I've decided that I am going to allow my staff members to interview me and to ask questions that they just want to find out what I feel and what I believe according to the questions that they may have. So my first guest is Becca Carmen. She is our creative director. Of course, you're going to meet her in just a minute. But I decided I thought it would be neat to just have the staff ask me a bunch of questions, and we just have a candid conversation. So right now, next week, I'm going to have my son, Austin, who is our COO. He's going to come on. And then the week after that, I'm going to have Eric Stable, who is our worship pastor. He's going to come on separately and ask me a bunch of questions relative to whatever he decides. And then I'm going to talk to some of the other staff members to see if they want to do this as well. So I'm actually going to try to carry this on into the new year just to bring up different topics, different conversations, to be able to have just candid conversations about life and about what's on their mind and about what they would like to know from their pastor. Because we all have different opinions, we all have different takes, and I just think it would be really cool to do so. Today, though, I know that last week we talked about conspiracy theories. I got a few little things here and there from people about what I discussed, and it is so crazy to me how people get wrapped up in conspiracy theories, how people can get so wrapped up into believing things when really it's not even necessary. Like it's not changing anything in your life, but yet we get wrapped up in it and we waste our time talking about it. And a lot of people said, well, if you don't like talking about it, then why did you, air quotes, waste your time talking about it? Well, I did that because there are times that I don't mind entertaining conversations from time to time, but the one thing that I will not do is I will not get into a debate over certain conspiracy theories. I don't mind discussing them. I want to hear what you have to say, maybe why you have to say it. I'm going to share what I have to say and why I believe what I believe, but I'm not going to go into a big old debate trying to prove one another wrong. It's just not worth my time. That's just the way that I feel about it. So I just wanted to put that out there to all of you. And I want to just say this. If you have a topic that you would like for me to talk about, something that you want more information on, or you just say, hey, I would just like to know what his perspective is on this particular topic. Maybe it's about medications. Maybe it's about child rearing. Maybe it's about marriage or faith or something about the Bible. It can be anything at all. It can be about politics. It can be about the presidents, the current presidents, the elections. It can be about should churches be involved in politics. I don't care what the question is. There is no question I don't feel that you cannot ask me that I would not address on this radio show. So I want you to, if you have a topic or something, a question you would like for me to address, I want you to go to the chat right now. If you don't have the chat, you need to download the app, Real Talk Radio app. Download it, go to the chat part of the app, put it in there of what it is that you would like for me to discuss, because I will tackle that topic for you. The last thing I'm going to say before I go to the break is this. I have a YouTube page. I've been putting more and more videos on my YouTube page to just bring awareness and inspiration and truth to people that might want to hear it. So go to my YouTube page, subscribe to the YouTube page. Just go and subscribe. That way you'll get an email or an alert every time we post a new video, and you can go watch it, like it, comment on it. And then lastly, go to my social media page on Instagram and on Facebook. Follow me, like my page, share my information, comment about my information that I do. I put all the videos on there. I just try to put things out, again, that are informational, inspirational, whether it's political, social, or biblical things for us to learn and educate ourselves on. And I would love to have your support on all social media and on the YouTube page. And lastly, go to Roots Church, myrootschurch.com. Check out Roots Church. Watch us online. Come and visit us on a Sunday. We have Christmas experience that are going to be happening on December the 23rd and the 24th. On Saturday night, it's at 5 p.m. On Sunday, we have 3 experiences, 8:30, 10, and 11:30. I would love for you to come for the first time, just to come and hang out and introduce yourself to me. Even if you live far away, just take a trip out that day. Come out to one of our Christmas experiences and introduce yourself to me. I would love that. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back in just a moment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back from the break. And as I said before, I have a staff member in here that is going to interview me on some questions that they looked at that they would like to just have a discussion with me about. And so my guest today is Becca Carmen. Can everybody welcome Becca?
Good morning, everyone.
It's good to have Becca. If you guys don't know who she is, obviously she's been on the show multiple times before with the other cohorts, Austin and Eric. Their weeks are coming up. I'll just let you know that. Becca is our creative director here at Roots Church, and she's also very good at talking about political and social and biblical topics. That's why she's in here. So, Becca, take it away.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Super excited to be on today. As a lot of the listeners who've listened in the past know, one of my favorite things to talk about is what some people call conspiracy theories, but what I like to call is reading between the lines. And so we're going to start off with that today. As soon as Pastor asked about being on the show with some questions that I got to pick, I just knew right off the top of my head what I wanted to start with.
And listen, she doesn't realize, maybe she does, but last week I talked about 2 conspiracy theories. Did you know that?
Oh, I know. I heard.
Flat earthers and then going to the moon.
Yeah, and I don't know if I necessarily agree with you on both of those, but that's okay. We can agree to disagree.
Yeah, conspiracy theories are fun to discuss from time to time, but I usually don't like to waste a lot of time on them, so we'll see what this one is.
This one is one I just recently stumbled upon, and so listen, people out there, if you've heard of the terrain theory, don't come after me. I'm still new, so don't be fact check. Well, no, actually, I want you to fact check everything I say, and slide in with a text if you have anything to add. But I wanted to talk about terrain theory versus the germ theory. So just a basic background. The terrain theory is the thought process or the belief that your body's microbiome is built and designed to handle germs all on its own. And that the germ theory is like a fabricated agenda where we are focused solely on fighting off germs. But the terrain theory says that our body is built to handle germs and to fight off germs. And so that basically all this hand washing protocols and all these concerns is really not important because your body's going to fight off what it needs to. And I have to say, I think there's something to this, that the media and that Western medicine, listen, friends who are doctors and nurses, I'm not coming for you. It's not your fault. You're just a byproduct of some sort of mass political health agenda.
So what's your question to me? Do I believe in it?
Question to you is, well, number one, do you wash your hands? I'm just kidding. And number 2, do you believe that your body is just built to fight off germs? Or do you think that this is just a far out conspiracy theory and that you're going to be worried if I wash my hands?
No, actually, here's what I do. Every time I use the restroom, no matter what, I wash my hands. Now, if I'm on a hike and I have to go and I'm in the woods, that looks a little bit different. But wherever I get to a place where I can wash my hands, I always wash my hands. But that doesn't mean I always wash my hands every day after I do work or shake a bunch of people's hands like after church on a Sunday. It depends on the day. I actually would say that I 100% agree with the terrain theory.
Yes.
So let me give you my 2 definitions that I found while you were doing your thing here. The germ theory suggests that germs are what we need to worry about, and we need to keep fighting ways to kill them off. Whereas the terrain theory argues that if the body is well balanced, then germs that are natural part of life in the environment will be dealt with by the body without causing sickness.
Yes.
I love those definitions because I 100% agree with this statement right here. Here's what I would say. You know that I've actually been trying to get my health in better shape.
I know. I've been waiting for this day.
And I did this genetics test from 10X, and I got the results back, and I have some genes broken, which I'm going to be talking about later on because I'm going to take everybody on this journey that I'm getting ready to go on. However, I have been learning through all the research I've been doing over the last month that, number one, the third leading cause of death in the United States is misdiagnosis. Did you know that?
No.
This means that doctors are out there diagnosing people for their symptoms and giving them medication and realizing later the symptoms that they had are not the things that the doctors think they have. Therefore, they give them medication based off a symptom. They take the medication actually does more harm than good to the body, and it actually leads to death. This does not mean I don't believe in medication, however. But when it comes to germs, I absolutely agree that our body was created by God to fight off the germs. They did not have the stuff today or back in those days as we do today. They didn't have Germ-X. They didn't have sanitizers. They didn't have a lot of soap to clean and wash their bodies and their hands. I mean, that's the way it was. Now, I know people didn't live as long, but the food that we eat is the biggest thing.
I think the food that we eat, this is like my soapbox, so I'm going to keep my soapbox very small. But the food that we eat, the toxic chemicals and metals in our food, EMFs, the electromagnetic fields that we're exposed to constantly, radiation, all those things I feel like are purposely orchestrated. America is known for this. We are known for the things we put in our foods and expose people to. So I feel like it makes sense that this would be part of a mass agenda to make us weak, to make us sick, to make us depend upon the pharmaceutical companies, which are owned by politicians and that are all traced back to the same people anyways.
Yep. It's all about power and money. And I agree with you. I absolutely do think it's an agenda of our world, of the politics, big pharma, media. They're all Marxist people anyway. And they have an agenda to take us out, weaken us, and they want us dependent on them. Just like COVID. Yep. I mean, literally, we could have solved COVID if people were just taking a lot of vitamin D.
Yes.
A lot of vitamin D, it would have taken care of a lot of the issues. But guess what? They did not want that. There was other medicines that we could have taken that are natural that they did not want us taking. Why? Because they made billions of dollars off the COVID vaccine.
Not only did they make billions of dollars, but then they have been proven to show that they went through inappropriate measures and they falsified data, and there's no consequence.
Right.
You just sweep that under the rug, and you make sure that when that COVID vaccine comes back, you better take it.
Yeah, so not only did they make billions off the COVID vaccine, they ended up making billions also off of people's death labeled COVID.
Yeah.
So if a person died of a heart attack but had COVID, they labeled it a COVID death and got thousands and thousands of dollars for the death. The hospitals did.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's the kind of jacked up society we are in. So we can call this a theory if you want to, but it sounds like you and I don't think it's a theory at all. I think it's the
real.
absolute truth. Now, I didn't really know it was called the terrain theory, and I never even know there was something called the germ theory. I just like to use common sense. I mean, to me, there are going to be germs out there, people. I don't think it's like this. We live in a bubble wrap world.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
Instead of a person having responsibility over their lives to wear their seatbelts, make sure you put on a helmet if you're riding a bike if you want to, whatever. If you don't want to put on a helmet and you crash your bicycle and you get skinned up like I did back in the day, guess what? You'll just learn the next time to be more careful.
Yes.
Every time we turn around.
Learned. There's no opportunity to learn a lesson
if
we don't let you try.
We just protect everybody from everything. Hot coffee in your lap. Guess what? You deserve to be burned between the legs if you're not smart enough to not put your hot coffee between your legs. You know what I'm saying?
My friend's little girl saw the caution hot on her coffee cup lid, and she goes, "Mom, obviously it's hot. It's coffee. They just handed it to you."
Yeah, how old was she?
She is 7.
Yeah, exactly. A 7-year-old even knows that it's hot. But no, McDonald's gets sued. They lose because some moron out there decided to not take responsibility.
I kind of want to be that moron. I want to be rich. That
I don't want to get
person's
rich
so
that
rich.
way.
I mean, yeah, you're right.
Listen, we have to take a break. When we come back, I'm sure you have some more questions for me. So listen, don't go anywhere. I think we're going to talk about something to do with marriage. Marriage when we come back. You're listening to Real Talk Radio, Unfiltered on the Real Talk Radio Network. All right, we're back from the break, and we're going to keep diving into some questions. So, Becca, what's your next question for me?
Next up, so this is one that honestly really like, I don't want to say it's a pet peeve of mine, but it's one of my favorite things to debate, specifically with couples who are my age. So I am married. My husband and I have been married for 3.5 years. And a lot of our friends have gotten married, or they're like in that stage where they're like considering getting married. And one of the things that always comes up is joint bank accounts. Because as much as you love your spouse, some people love their bank account more.
They like their money.
They like their money.
Well, it is interesting because you have, if both people work,
yeah,
then it makes it a lot harder because it's his money, her money.
Yep. That's true. That is a good point. Most people I know, like most people my age, they both work.
Yeah.
Whereas like not everybody does. So my question is, from a pastor's perspective, but also someone who's been married for 28 years?
Almost 27 right now.
What is your concept, or what's your hot take on joint bank accounts?
I absolutely, again, 100% say you need to have a joint bank account. 100% joint bank account. There is this thing in the Bible. I don't know. I don't ever use it whenever I do marriage. But there is a verse in the Bible that talks about that we are joined together as one.
Yeah.
So I always
Mark 10:8 and 10:9.
I'd have to look because
God
I really
has joined together. Let no man separate.
That's it. So my thing is this includes your money. You got it on your.
I do have it on my ring.
Oh, there you go. That's a good way to. It's a good understanding. I'm glad you have that because that's the way it is. So I tell the couples that I marry in the ceremony, I said, "What is yours is hers. What is hers is yours." So in other words, her dishes are your dishes.
Yeah, that's right.
So everything becomes one, and it is really a mindset that it is one. Now we did talk about this a little bit. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you and Jake do?
Yeah.
And then I'll let you know kind of what we do.
So Jake and I, we're both very much so like on the same page with this. We're very open in communications, but we do have joint accounts. But we also have what we call like our personal spending accounts, or like on our budget, we call it fun money. So we have one main checking account. That's where our paychecks initially hit. Mm-hmm. And then we make sure that we always have our bill money in that account. We then agree upon a spending amount for each of us, and then we divide that in two, so half for him, half for me. We transfer that to our own personal checking accounts.
Perfect.
So we've got one joint account, Jake and I. We each have a spending account, but our names are on all accounts. So if I needed to access Jake's account for some reason, he can access mine. We agree on what that looks like, and then all of our couple spending money comes out of our bill account as well. So anything Jake wants to buy, and sometimes I do see the stuff he buys with this fun money, and I'm like, seriously? Like, why are you buying that? You don't need that. But at the end of the day, it's not up to me because it's his spending money.
So the rule is, when it comes to your fun money, it doesn't matter what you spend it on. The other person has no say in what you're spending money on.
No, not at all. I mean,
unless it's unethical or immoral,
yeah,
right?
if it's like immoral, yeah, there's a line. Like if you're trying to go out with the boys on a weekend, I'm gonna be like, what are you doing? That's not allowed. But other than that, no, if he wants to like save it up, there are times like he bought a new gun last year and I'm like, you did not need that. You have a whole case thingy.
But he bought it with his fun money.
He did. And so I couldn't really say anything.
Oh, yeah.
I said, all right, fine. That's what you want to do.
I actually love that because, honestly, that's what Aaron and I have done from day one. We do it just a little bit different. What we do is we have one main checking account that we both are on.
Yep.
All the money goes into those accounts. And then from there, it gets split up into two separate bank accounts. She has her own bank account. I have my own bank account. The only difference is technically, I don't believe that either one of us are on those accounts. We probably should be. I'm not saying we shouldn't or you should or whatever. Mainly if something happens, it would be nice if you're on there. Yep. What we do have, though, on those accounts is I'm TOD'd on her, she's TOD'd on mine. That way, if something tragic happens, it still goes to us.
Yeah.
And we only do it that way because, again, I don't want to have access personally to her account just for the fact that I want her to have her own money. She's responsible for that money. and she budgets accordingly. Since she's not actually working, I'm doing air quotes here, because she is a stay-at-home mom, she actually does get a paycheck from the two businesses that I have, and it just takes away from my paycheck, so that way it makes it a little bit easier for taxes and whatnot.
Yeah.
So she actually does get a paycheck, but it's a certain amount, and she budgets the groceries, her gas, anything that she wants to do personally. And it also pays for any of the food if we go out to eat from Sunday to Thursday. If we go out to eat, it's on her budget. But if it's a Friday, anytime on Friday and Saturday, that's on my part of my budget for my fun money. That's just something we set up. But you had asked a question, well, what if one of us wants to go out to eat and one of us doesn't? Well, it's pretty simple. If we talk about on a Tuesday night, we're really busy, and I say, hey, let's go to Finish Line and grab a burger. If she says to me, I really don't have it in my budget this week, so she'll say, if you want to pay for it on your budget, we can go. Otherwise, we need to stay at home. And then I'll decide, do I want to spend the money or not?
Yeah.
And I'll say, no big deal. Let's just stay home and eat. We don't argue about that stuff. I mean, if I really want to do something, then I pay for it with my money. Otherwise, if not, we do what she wants to do.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest thing, because it's like you can draw lines, we do it a little bit different, but what works for you guys works for you. What works for us works for us. I think the biggest thing to me when it comes down to it is you're transparent, you're open, you're honest, and you're trusting the other person.
Yes.
If you're going to marry someone and trust them to be hopefully married to for the rest of your life.
No doubt.
Why would you not trust them with finances?
Right.
Why would you not merge your accounts?
It should be as clear as crystal clear on the accounts. Now, I don't look and see what Erin spends her money on because I don't care. It's her money.
Oh, I look at what Jake's doing.
Her money. Now, again, if something's not getting taken care of, I might question, why are we not having groceries, or why are we struggling? I might do that. I don't have to do that because she is very good at managing that. The bottom line, I think that for you and I, because I marry a lot of young couples, or I have in the past, and this is one of the things that I have to talk to them about, because a lot of them do not want to join their accounts. And even worse, she has her bills, he has his bills.
Yes.
After you're married. It's like, no. Those bills are, and guess what? Guys, if you're listening out there and you're getting married, it goes either direction. But either way, let's say your future spouse has $50,000 in student debt and you're getting ready to marry them. That becomes your debt just as much as it is their debt. In other words, now you're paying for their student debt.
Yeah.
But what I have seen is, the guy in this one case, it was the guy that had the student debt, and the future wife was like, why am I having to pay for that? Well, because when you get married, it all becomes yours.
It's so crazy to me that that's even a conversation. I say this, and I'll just be fully transparent.
This is Jake, Unfiltered.
When Jake and I got married, I said, babe, you're marrying a loan basket, right? I got student loans as far as the eye can see, and he had none. But that's something that we talked about and we went into together. Just like when I changed jobs, I went from a corporate job to a job here at the church. It was a conversation between the two of us because it affects our income together.
Yep.
And what does that look like and all those details. So it's like, if you keep that separate, then where do you just keep drawing lines?
Yeah.
You draw lines in one of the most important areas of your life, your finances. It makes it so much easier to draw lines everywhere else.
Yeah. Well, that's the number one. That's for Erin and I, that is not our number one fight. But for many couples, the number one fight in most relationships is money. And it's because of what we're talking about. It's his money, her money. It's what I get to do. It's your bills. It's my bills. It's not our bills. It's not our money. It's not our budget. It's not our anything. It's separate. And I'm just telling you, ladies and gentlemen, trust me, I've been married. It'll be 28 years in February, which is only a few months away. 28 years of being married, and my wife and I, for at least 25 of those years, maybe even 26 of those years, have been doing it this way. And if my wife was in here right now, she would tell you it works perfect. It's beautiful. Now, it doesn't mean you don't have struggles from time to time with finances because of whatever, but the thing of it is we both are very clear on what we're doing with each other and the bill pay account. Here's the better part about this. We never have to worry about a bill getting paid.
Yep, it's always sitting.
Because you never touch the checking account that
Yes.
has all the bills coming out automatically that you dump in that account. You take your spending money out of there, and I don't even look at it except like once a month to make sure everything's correct.
You just like keep it over there. You know it's taken care of.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Your bills are paid, and then you got your money that you know that you get to play with or you get to spend money with, and it's limited, but that's what you get.
And then you know you're okay. There is no worse feeling than when you decide to take a credit card or even your debit card and you like go out for the weekend and you just swipe that card and you never look at your account, and like Monday comes and you're like, oh gosh, what have I done?
Yeah.
Because there's an
$500 later.
there. You're like, surely I didn't spend that, but you did because you swiped your card all over the place. Whereas if you have spending accounts, you're going to swipe your card and then you're not going to be able to swipe your card if you keep it separate.
Yep.
So you don't have to worry if like your bills aren't going to get paid or all those things. Dave Ramsey, are you listening? Because I think that we should get a shout out here. These are good money principles.
And Dave, I don't believe in everything you do, by the way. I mean, you don't have all the answers, even though you got a lot of them. You got, I would say 98%. Okay, 98%. There's never 100% of everything we believe of everybody. But
anytime someone says something about like Dave Ramsey's principles, I'm like, yeah, I agree with maybe like 80%. You know, don't forget he did go bankrupt after becoming a millionaire once. Like there is a little bit of,
I don't think he wants you telling everybody that.
He tells people. I'm just reminding everyone.
So the other thing you brought up about joint accounts, which I don't think you're a big fan of, is Facebook.
Yes. Okay. I am going to step on a few toes. But listen, we're just being honest.
I know a few people right now that have joint accounts that we could call out from the radio.
I'm not calling them out. If Pastor wants to call them out, he can do that. But I do feel like joint Facebook accounts are ridiculous.
Tell us why.
Listen, friends. If you feel the need to have a joint Facebook account and it's because of a lack of trust or a worry about someone not being responsible with their Facebook accounts and what access they have to other people, conversations, whatever, y'all shouldn't have social media. I'm just going to say it. It is what it is.
I'll take it one step further. If you can't even trust each other on social media, why are you even married?
Well, yeah. What he said. That's exactly right.
But now I will say, let's just hypothetically say that maybe there was an issue of infidelity in the relationship.
Okay.
And because maybe they both had social media, they just decided to make that account joint because of the infidelity.
No, I still don't, because here's why. If there's a history of infidelity, first of all, I'm sorry. Second of all, I'm impressed if you've been able to work through that. But if you have worked through that, then that means you've forgiven them. If you've forgiven them, that means that you do not get to hold their past against them. Therefore, if you're not holding their past against them, why are you not allowing them to have their own social media page?
Ouch. Dang, she's bringing it straight, man. It's Unfiltered right here on the Unfiltered radio show today with Becca.
It's true.
I 100% agree with everything you just said. I was just curious how you felt if it was a situation like that.
I feel bad. I'm sorry for just getting so heated because I'm supposed to be interviewing you and I'm going off the rails over here. So,
I love it. Well, Pastor, I agree.
Do you agree? Okay.
Yes, I do not think me personally, I don't think you should have joint Facebook accounts. If you trust each other, listen, my wife has all of my login information for everything I have. Now, does she remember all of it? I don't know. But if she asked me for my password, I would not hesitate for 1 second to give her my password to anything that I have.
Absolutely. Jay and I, same thing. First of all, homeboy don't remember his own passwords. He'll be texting me, what's the password to my Facebook? And I'm like, here's what it is. But exactly, you should just have open communication, transparency, honesty, all of those things. And it should not require having the same identical access. Where's the expression of trust in that relationship?
And let me go one even step further. We, at least I do, and I know my wife does, we get on each other's Facebooks from time to time just to see what is going on and what kind of conversations are happening, not because of anything other than that's just accountability.
Yeah, like not looking for stuff. I'm just seeing what's going on.
Yeah, I'm not looking. It's just accountability to know that we get to do that at any given moment. It just creates more trust because we have major boundaries and we just want to make sure we're protecting our marriage. Listen, we already got to take another break. When we come back, we may continue this or we may jump into something else. You'll have to wait and see. We'll see you back here in just a minute. Okay, we're back from the break, and we actually had a conversation during the break. We just wanted to make probably, what would that be called? A little statement here.
Yeah, a little footnote.
If you have a You go ahead and say it. If they have a joint account, we were talking about.
Okay, yes.
We know people.
We were talking about.
We know people, so look out.
Listen, we love you people. We just think that you're silly. That's all. But Pastor did point out that we do know of one person specifically. He doesn't want Facebook, but his wife adds him to her name so that they are identified together. So if you're the small minority that like your spouse just like throws your name into their username, fine. You do you, whatever that means.
No big deal.
Fine. But the rest of you, the majority of you who just have like a trust issue or something wonky going on, y'all listen. Lame. Give your spouse the opportunity to prove their trust in them, and go from there. Otherwise, you don't even need it.
I agree. That's any social media.
Yes, social media. People just conduct themselves in a way on social media that I think they don't realize that how you conduct yourself on socials is how you should conduct yourself in real life. So if you wouldn't say it in real life, in person,
right,
why you say
or
it
on the radio
media?
show, right?
Yeah, that too.
Well, like I said, I share all my credentials with my wife, and my wife shares her credentials with me. Now, I don't get into all her stuff. Like, she has accounts with shopping and different things. I don't need all those credentials. I only want the social media stuff. That way, for one, it's just accountability, because listen, if you cannot share your credentials with your spouse, there's a problem. You're hiding something, or you're just being flat out rebellious and honestly a jerk.
And it's disrespectful, I feel like. Also, this actually leads me into a new question. It's unscripted. It just popped into my head. For your opinion, as we talk about social media and trust and all those things, what do you think about men or women liking photos of the opposite sex? Not just like family photos. I'm talking about like provocative swimsuit photos, or even just...
Oh my God, I have a story, but I cannot share it. I cannot share it. But I can, but let me...
Do you need to think about it?
No. Since it's unfiltered, I'm just going to share it.
Scissors.
Okay, I'll just say, here's a situation. There was a situation one time where I'm just going to use male and female, because I don't want anybody to be called out. Okay. Because somebody might be listening that I'm talking about them.
Okay.
But what happened was, there was a wife that ended up liking a picture of another friend that was a guy. Okay. That didn't have his shirt on, and it was basically showing him working out his muscles. And it came up, and so what this person did is they went to another friend's page that posts provocative things, and they screenshotted that, sent it to the wife, and said, "Would you care if I like this?" And the wife said, "Absolutely not." No, the wife said, "No, I don't want you liking that. I absolutely will bother me." So they screenshotted the picture that the wife liked of the guy and said, "What about this?" And it was like silent. And all the person said was, they said, "Message sent." In other words,
shots fired.
Shots fired. They went and unliked the photo, and from that day forward, they had an understanding that it is definitely not healthy in your relationship to be liking the opposite sex of their photos that are provocative. They're in swimsuits. Mm-hmm. Even if it isn't a provocative photo and they're just in their swimsuits, or you see 3 ladies that are in swimsuits on the beach and the guy likes it. Wrong. No. It goes the other way around. That is bad. I'm just telling you.
Stop what you're doing. Do not pass go. Get out of there.
Stop what you're doing, because I'm about to ruin
That's exactly
the Humpty Dance. I'm telling you, it's dangerous. It's absolutely dangerous. Now, I have, just the other day, it was funny because I have a friend of mine that posted a date night of him and his significant other. Mm-hmm. And so the first 3 or 4 pictures were just of them eating. There was a drink, and then they were shopping. And then the last picture was him videoing her backside in her yoga pants. And I showed Aaron, and I started laughing. And so I sent my friend the message. I said, "It's because of picture 2, the video was made in the video because he had a drink, probably one too many, and he's over there videoing her hind end." I'm like, so there's things like that you do, but you never like just the picture of. It just isn't. No.
Well, like I told Jay, I mean, I will be honest. Like when Jay and I, we first started dating. I guess it was I don't know, 7 years ago. And when we first started dating, we're like, a younger generation. Instagram's a big deal. And like, I would see him like a girl's photo. And so he was living in Texas at the time. So I remember one time I went down there, I printed off these photos and I like laid them out. And I said, would you walk up to her and say, I like what you look like? He's like, no. And I said, then why are you liking her photo? And it was, sorry, babe.
That's brutal.
Sorry, Jay.
I like the way you said that, though. If you're not going to do it in person, I mean, think about it, guys. If you have a friend, your wife's friend is in a bikini.
Yes.
Would you go up and say, hey, I like the way you look in that bikini? Now, if you would, we need to have another conversation.
Yes.
I'm just going to tell you right now, you're not protecting your marriage at all if you do that. The answer would be no. You would not do that, so don't do it on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's good. I love it.
And for ladies, you probably shouldn't be posting certain things of yourself. Now, we can't necessarily like live our lives like hiding away from men's wandering eyes. Yeah. That goes to both directions. But you should also represent yourself in a way where you're never put in a position for your husband to be uncomfortable.
If you're looking at the Kardashians or you're looking at some of these people, what they do, listen, ladies, if you're taking a picture of your belly down to your legs laying out in your bathing suit, I'm just going to tell you that's wrong. I mean, you're just asking for guys to lust over you and to think nasty things about you, and you're definitely not protecting yourself at all. You're just throwing yourself out there like a piece of meat. But if you're just taking photos with your girlfriends in bikinis because you're on the beach, I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, it's your choice whether you do it or not. I'm just saying my personal opinion is it's not healthy for you to take pictures of yourself in a provocative way and post them on Facebook anyway.
Yeah, there's definitely just levels of
Call me
moderation.
Old school, call me lame. I don't really care. I'm going to protect my marriage, my eyes, and everything else that goes along with it.
That's exactly right. I 100% agree. Especially just with where like society is today, man. Like, you got to protect your marriage because ain't nobody else going to do it for you.
Nope.
So, and nobody else is going to respect a marriage that you don't first respect.
That's right.
So,
it's good stuff.
Get off my soapbox now.
You got anything else? We got about 3.5 minutes.
I actually did. This is going to be I'm just going to throw this out there and just let the world take it for what they will. As we're talking about, women, ladies, all the things, and things working both ways. One of the things I've recently was talking to my husband about, he's on a little journey right now with the military, and we're talking about the military draft. So completely switching gears. We're going from bikinis to women in military OCPs or ACUs, whatever.
G.I. Jane?
Yeah, G.I. Jane. What would you say, Pastor, if the draft came back, should women be included?
Listen, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate right now. I just know I probably am. I am not saying that there's not a woman out there that cannot defend and fight for our country. I believe they can. I believe there are a lot of women out there that are stronger than a lot of men. Truthfully, I believe that.
I'm definitely stronger than some of these
I
dudes.
just don't like the idea of women being in the military. That's my personal opinion. So I'm going to say no on the draft. What I would want is I want my wife to be at home with my kids, because if I take it back into the old days, you didn't see women on the front lines fighting battles back in the Bible days. You did not see that happen until people started complaining about women's rights and women should have equal rights, et cetera, et cetera. Well, now we're starting to see women's rights get taken out of way context because now men are pretending to be women fighting in women's sports. And so now where's the line get drawn?
Yeah.
Ladies, let me just say this. You asked for it. You want to do everything men can do, but yet men can't do what you do, and now they're doing it through identity.
Yeah. There is no bigger disgrace to the advancement and the accomplishments of women's rights than what's going on in America today.
I'm just saying.
Where men are pretending to be women.
Everything starts off for a good reason, but then it always goes south every single time.
It goes crazy.
Again, don't hate me because I respect any woman that has ever served in the military. My hat goes off to you. I honor you. I respect you. There's no doubt that is your choice. I'm just saying, if I was the president of the United States that could change it, I would probably change it. And you can hate me if you want to. That's up to you. But I'm just saying that's where I draw the line.
I would say for me, I feel like the thing is what if I told you that military physical fitness regulations have changed to, accommodate women? I think that's where the problem is.
Yeah.
Because if my husband's going to be out there and we change the rules for this woman because she's a woman, but she wanted to be in the military, that's ridiculous.
That's a good way to look at it.
Should be equal.
Well, and I don't
abilities.
think that women can't be in the military to serve in a particular role. I'm saying I don't feel like they should be on the front lines. So there's a lot of women that are serving as nurses. Maybe it's admin. Maybe it's behind the scenes.
Support roles.
I am 100% in favor of that. I don't want you to think that I probably should have clarified myself. Not in all of the military, but just on the frontline battlefield, it looks different. Because what you just said, they changed the guidelines for women because they can't do what men can do.
Yep.
They just can't. That's why they change it.
Yeah.
And we only got 20 seconds left, and that's how we're ending this.
Tell us in the comments.
Tell us in the chat what you think. You can hate us. You can love us.
I don't want to be drafted.
But we don't care either way because you have the right to be wrong. I love saying that.
Only half wrong. You're
All
only
right.
half wrong.
Listen, this is it. We love you guys. Becca, thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next week with one of my other staff members interviewing me on crazy questions. We'll see you guys then.